Well, that's what the head of the U.S. government-funded media believes. He mentioned RT in the same breath as Islamic State and Boko Haram terrorist groups. Puzzled by our name being mentioned next to such sinister entities, we asked for Washington's official point of view.
I think the broad point, would the U.S. government put those three in the same category? No, we wouldn't.
Do you have any problem with the way he put it?
I think I'd point you to them, and I just stated that wouldn't be the way that we would state it from here.
How would you state it?
We wouldn't state it in those terms.
The Secretary of State is a member of the BBG.
Sure, I just stated the concerns we have, which we agree with. I would state it in that way.
Besides the fact that the Secretary of State is the member of this board, whose chief commented on RT, what else do we know about it? Well, the agency, it is a U.S. federal agency supervising all governmental-supported international news media. It oversees outlets like Voice of America, Radio Free Europe, Radio Free Asia, and the Middle East Broadcasting Corporation. And U.S. government keeps pouring the money in. Just last year, its budget was more than $700 million. Now, the head of the organization is appointed by the American president. We asked a range of media experts and freedom of speech activists what they thought about Andrew Lack's statement.
This was a careless, very careless and silly thing to say, considering the prevalence of corporate media here in the United States and the purpose of, BBG's constituents like Voice of America, who are supposed to put out all kinds of views, not just propaganda.
We see how the U.S. is using the words like democracy and terrorism in a perverted way. Its aim is to attack a channel that's causing it some trouble by providing an alternative point of view, different from that of the U.S.
We are seeing a danger here in our world where those in power are ready to use terrorism law to silence journalists and media organizations.
The statement was first published in the New York Times. Sydney Smith from iMedia, a group that monitors ethics in journalism, believes that the paper failed to live up to its own standards.
The Times has a very clear policy on rebuttals where they say that, I believe the quote is, that no subject should be taken by surprise by anything in the Times reporting, and Russia Today was clearly taken by surprise. When you're criticizing somebody in the media, then the subject should definitely be contacted for comment before publication.
Right, we're covering this story on our website and Twitter with the hashtag #NewsIsNotTerror. It has generated quite a response with more than 2,000 tweets already. Let us know what you think as well. Just don't forget to use the hashtag.
To be in the know, follow us online.
Police in the French city of Calais have been accused of excessive use of force against migrants and asylum seekers. A report from Human Rights Watch claimed migrants face constant abuse, including beatings leading to broken bones and the use of pepper spray. Here's a testimony from one of them.
I'm go to the street alone. At that times, came face to face the police. I'm go to that way. The police came for me. No ask anything. Without any reason, without any problems. Just the one police, the sticks beat my noses. One police, beat for legs. After that, my full down.
Several thousand migrants and asylum seekers, mainly from Sudan, Eritrea, and Ethiopia, are currently camped out near the city's port and suburbs. They are hoping to cross to the Channel to get to the UK. Human Rights Watch said these people live in makeshift camps with limited access to running water and poor sanitation. Here's a first-hand account from a Human Rights Watch researcher on the conditions.
So I spoke to indeed over 40 migrants and asylum seekers in Calais. I also spoke to them about their living conditions. About half of them described having been exposed to police abuse and either violence. I could see for myself that some of them had a broken arm, for example, or visible injuries on their face, on their leg, which was consistent with what they were describing about the abuses they had faced. We met with advisors to the Minister of the Interior here in France. We also met with the government representative in the Pas-de-Calais department. Their response was indeed that if these people are facing abuse, they should go and file complaints with the police or with prosecutor. The point, though, is that these are people who were in a very vulnerable situation, in a very precarious situation. The fact that they haven't actually gone and filed complaints, as other citizens may do, doesn't mean that they aren't facing these abuses. And indeed, this is why we went and did this work, to give them a voice and to reflect these experiences that they were describing.
France's Interior Minister lashed out at Human Rights Watch, accusing them of not taking the time to verify whether its accusations were correct. He says the group should have taken the information to the authorities before going public. Online for you, an asteroid the size of 5 football fields is hurtling towards Earth. Now, in less than 24 hours, you'll be able to see the giant rock through binoculars. It's a close call in space terms, but is there any cause for concern? Find the answer online. Plus, check out this big cat getting its paws dirty, captured in action, rolling this huge snowball around the enclosure. You can see more in the In Motion section at rt.com. Whistleblowers got their fair share of recognition this week. The annual Sam Adams Awards for Integrity in Intelligence has been given to retired NSA Technical Director William Bini. We talked to him about the award and his new job.
Actually, it's quite an honor to be recognized by such a group of individuals who've basically, at one time or another, potentially sacrificed everything in their lives to try to bring truth to the public. People are becoming more and more aware in our country, and certainly Congress is trying to start to do some things very slowly, moving in the direction of correcting these things. It's hard to understand why people in elected office who go in with an oath of office to defend and protect the Constitution, how they could violate that. My new job is to make my government honest and make them face the truth publicly.
Now, there are some household names among previous award winners. Edward Snowden, the former NSA contractor who released the information about the agency's surveillance activities, received his prize while in asylum in Moscow. Another laureate, Private Chelsea Manning. Now, he leaked thousands of U.S. secret documents to WikiLeaks and is currently serving a 35-year sentence for doing so. We spoke to some of their supporters and to whistleblowers themselves.
The plight for whistleblowers has gotten a lot worse. Not only do you risk losing your job, you risk losing your very freedom. In the past 5 years, President Obama has prosecuted more whistleblowers than all previous presidents combined.
And it was Ed Snowden that freed up people like Bill Binney to comment freely on the abuses that had happened because now it was out in the open. He made it possible for others to tell the truth about the outrageous eavesdropping on Americans and pretty much everyone throughout the world.
I think there will be more whistleblowers coming forward. We want to encourage people to come out and say it is possible to survive the process, and you are the regulators of last resort. Please, come out and we will help you.
Firecrackers lit up the night in Cremona, Italy. They were thrown during an anti-fascist rally attended by thousands. What started as a peaceful demo turned violent when stones, flares and firecrackers were thrown at police. The rally was in response to an attack on a cultural center a week ago, which was blamed on far-right activists. One person was left in a coma. Demonstrators also turned out in their thousands at Pakistan's biggest city, Karachi, angry at caricatures of the Prophet Muhammad printed in the Charlie Hebdo paper. The satirical French publication has sparked rage among many Muslims worldwide who say the cartoons are insulting. It's the latest in more than a week of nationwide protests targeting the paper. Hundreds of activists with the far-right wing Pegida group are rallying in Germany's eastern city of Dresden to voice their anger at what they call Europe's Islamization. The country has seen over 10 such rallies in recent weeks, some of them ending in violence. A counter demonstration is planned for Monday. There are reports of shelling in military helicopters over Nigeria's northeastern city of Maiduguri, following an assault by suspected Boko Haram militants. Security forces say they fought off the attack, killing several dozen militants in the process. All roads have been closed and commercial activity in the city shut down. Maiduguri is strategically important and would be a prize for the group which is trying to carve out an Islamic caliphate. America's clever Middle East campaign is keeping the Islamic State at bay, and Washington plans to seek more military powers in 2015 to keep it that way. At least that's the U.S. president's view of the situation.
In Iraq and Syria, American leadership, including our military power, is stopping ISIL's advance. Instead of getting dragged into another ground war in the Middle East, we are leading a broad coalition, including Arab nations, to degrade and ultimately destroy this terrorist group. We're also supporting a moderate opposition in Syria that can help us in this effort.
It was part of Barack Obama's State of the Union address in which he urged Congress to approve the use of greater military force in the fight against Islamic State. Brian Becker from the Answer Anti-War Coalition believes the U.S. president is flaunting international law with his military ambitions.
There is no international law that's considered to be a criteria for U.S. actions. The UN, the United Nations, is quite clear that the United States nor any other country has the right to attack another entity, another country, another sovereign member of the United Nations. The United States has allowed itself, arrogated to itself, the right for an open-ended bombing campaign in both Iraq and Syria, not just for months or even years, but perhaps for decades. And now he says, almost as an afterthought, in order to show our country's resolve, I ask you, the Congress, to give us authorization. He's acted without authorization, and Congress has not demanded to be a party to the whole process, even though the U.S. Constitution states clearly only Congress can declare war, and this is clearly a war.
Up next, it's this week's technology update.